think I prefer elevation to humidity. Let's get it. Good morning, it is 6 a.m. and I am about to go for a run. It's dark, it's cold, it is basically 20 degrees and that's the coldest that it's been in a while. So I'm dreading this a little bit and then I'm getting on a flight in like a couple hours. So I'm also just really tired. We're doing 2K repeats, so like 1.2-ish miles. And I want to try and do them, if I'm gonna hit that 1845K, ideally these should be probably in the 640 to 650 range and feel fairly comfortable at that range. So fingers crossed. If this feels like a VO2 max workout, I may be in a little bit of trouble. This should be like just a tiny notch above threshold or around threshold, ideally. So we'll see how this goes, but yeah, we're flying out today to North Carolina. Just like last week, because of travel and all that stuff, I just thought it would be better to do my speed workout today. So we're gonna get it done. We're gonna get some pre-run fuel and then we'll hit the road. All right. Whew. That was 6 by 2K, 2 minutes rest between. I was aiming for like 6:30 to 7-minute pace. Kind of that range. I'm gonna be averaging 640. I averaged about 640 for the first 3 reps. Realized I was gonna die if I did that and started bargaining. I started bargaining because I was like, man, okay, maybe I only do 5 today. I've got to go to the airport in like an hour. Just get 5, just get it done. That's still good stimulus. But I locked it down. Got it done. Probably average across all 647. And I backed off a little bit. So on a few of those reps, I just tried to hold like 705 for the first 1,000, and then kind of gradually cut down for the second 1,000, and that worked well. Finished fast, so got a good range of stimulus. Woo! But that hurt, and that would have been really hard to do tomorrow after flying today. So I'm glad I got it done. Just got back from a morning run. We just hit about 8.5-ish miles easy. I'm gonna be honest, my calf actually is a little bit irritated. I think I might have tweaked it yesterday during my speed workout. So I have an easy run tomorrow too. We'll see how it feels. And then I was gonna try and do some speed on Thursday. But I'm in North Carolina and just at my sister's house. And we found these nice little trail system close by, which I didn't know there were trails like that around here. And we've been considering moving out this way, and one of the big reasons I didn't want to is a lack of trail time. Ironically, if we lived in this area, I could get more trail time, and it's all kind of like flat and not groomed, like there's lots of roots and leaves and rocks, but like flat trail, which I don't get a lot of at home. So that did bump North Carolina up a couple notches in my books. But we'll see. Right now we're Utah. We'll be in Utah for at least the next year. But nice and easy. Heart rate was chilling. We kept it just around 10-minute average pace, but we walked some areas as we kind of got lost. And yeah, excited to be here. Happy Thanksgiving, y'all. It's gonna be a good week. Wednesday morning. I'm coming down with something. I can feel it kind of in my throat and my sinuses a little bit, but that's what happens when you travel 2 weeks in a row. So we're gonna get another easy run in. All right, got my brother-in-law, my brother. We're gonna go for a run, and then I might lift a little bit. We'll see. This is the farm. I'm gonna just walk. All right, dropped off my brother and brother-in-law. Again, this is a property I've thought about building actually right there, building right here. So my brother, that's my brother, and I'd build like right here in between these trees. Be really cool. We've got the pond. There's actually a trail down there that I can go run some trail. The road here is relatively flat, so I can get some good flat mileage in, some speed work. And then we'd have that second little, there's a garage with like an apartment up top where my parents will come stay when they're visiting. And my brother and my dad own this together. So it'd be really cool. It'd be like our little training center and be able to raise the family together. But it's a pretty big commitment, pretty long-term commitment to be able to do so. And so my wife and I are unsure. We're nervous about the prospect. So anyway, I'm gonna finish my warm-up. We got 600s today. So 8 by 600. We're splitting it 300, 300, 300 at like 640 to 650 pace. And then the second 300 at like 620 to 610 pace. My calf is feeling okay. Depending on how it reacts, I may cut it short. But then I'll finish up, probably go hit a bench session or something before we head back to my sister's house. So my brother and sister live 40 minutes apart. But it would be really cool, close enough that, you know, on the weekends and stuff, we can get together as a family. So let's get this done. I think I prefer elevation to humidity. Let's get it. 640. Happy Friday, everybody. As you can see, we're out on an easy run, and it's dropped a good number of degrees. So luckily, I did bring some gloves with me. We're still in North Carolina, flying home this afternoon. Ready to get back. I managed to keep my cold kind of at bay. And it's just been a long 2 weeks away from home. So we're ready to get back into a normal routine. Overall though, been able to stay fairly consistent, still get my paces and stuff done on my runs, which can be hard on vacation. A little bit easier when you're staying with family, I feel like, rather than like on an actual vacation. So it's been good. All right, I'm feeling it. The legs are beat. My left calf is just tender. It's not like screaming at me, but it's tender. So we're taking a quick walk break. And then gonna get moving again, but we're home. It's Saturday. I'm supposed to do 10 miles today. At least I wanted to do 12. And we got home last night and all of our fire alarms had been going off, which apparently that had happened too while we were gone this last week. No fire, luckily, but if the alarms are going off and there's no fire, we were worried about carbon monoxide. So we ended up having to stop at Home Depot on the way back from the airport. I ran inside while the rest of the family was in the car. I plugged in the carbon monoxide testers to try and pick something up. They were negative, so we were good, but the alarms wouldn't stop no matter what we did. So I ended up calling out the fire department, who came and checked it out. And this was like at 11 o'clock at night after a day of travel with 3 young kids. So as you can imagine, it was a long night, but we got home, everyone fell asleep. Everyone actually slept through the night, and I was able to sleep in a little bit, which was awesome. I think I'm gonna go for a run right now, just on the treadmill. I woke up at like 4 a.m. with some congestion. All of it's up here, and so none of it is like in my chest from what I can tell. And I don't have like a fever, body aches, anything like that, right? Just a little bit of sinus pressure. So for me, usually I actually can go for a run when my roll is kind of like above the neck. You're okay, versus below the neck, like, hey, maybe take the day off. I may not get 10 to 12 miles. We'll see. Again, we're just going to do it inside. We'll go real chill. My body's obviously tired from travel and just being out of town for basically 2 weeks. So we'll hop on the tread, see how it goes, take it easy, and hopefully that shakes up some of the mucus as well, breaks it up. I find that usually I actually feel better after a run. So we'll see how it goes. But I've got a lot of fun shoes to talk about. I have my TRE content that I have to edit that I am hoping to get out this week. And then I've got a number of shoes that I have not really put miles on. I have one run in the Novablast 5s. The Speedberries, this is a brand new company, brand new shoes, their first shoe. Excited to get miles on these. I'm talking to them actually on Zoom next week, or this week if you're watching this. We've got the Glycerin 22, which releases in February, so it'll be a while before I put on miles because I'm going to prioritize those that are releasing in December. And I think a colorway of the Mizuno Mystery shoe number 1, which are now known to be the Mizuno Neo Zen. This colorway comes out in December. The other colorways, it's actually an official 2025 launch from my understanding. And so I want to get some miles on these two pairs here, as well as the Speedberries for my daily trainer rotation, as I just am wrapping up miles on the 1080 V14. So that review will be coming soon. We're going to get our Saturday long run in. I don't know how long I'll actually go because I am sick. I've got some congestion. I don't want to overdo it. Been traveling basically for the last 2 weeks, but I am going to finish out my mileage in the 1080 V14. Should be over 40 miles after this run, probably close to like 45 or so on these. And I want to do some comparisons today so that I can kind of give you guys an idea what to expect with this shoe. We've got the 1080 V13s right here, so I'm gonna do a little bit of the run in these. And then I think it would be fun, since we're doing kind of daily trainers, another daily trainer that is coming out, probably is out by the time you watch this video, Novablast 5. So a lot of times people are making decisions between different shoes, trying to figure out which one works best for them. So for those who are curious, between the 1080 V13, 14, and then the new Novablast, we'll give you a general idea of the feel of all of these shoes, hopefully by the end of this video. We're going to start out with the V14s. Again, the majority of this run is going to be done in the shoe. We'll probably try and get maybe 4 to 5 miles on these before I switch. The 1080 V13 for me was a fun shoe. I felt like it actually had some bounce. A lot of people said that it was just like too mushy, and so you didn't really get any pickup or any like responsiveness in the shoe. At least early on, I felt like it felt really good on strides. I felt like there was a rebound. And then as the weather heated up, I felt like that rebound went away. I felt like the shoe got warm, and I felt like the shoe did get overly mushy. So then it became like an exclusively easy day shoe, and I didn't even love strides in it. I love the look of the shoe, by the way. I actually like, just visually, I do think that the 13 was a little bit like sportier versus the 14 feels a little bit more like, hey, this is like, again, an easy day shoe. But we'll see again how they feel, and we can talk about it afterwards. We just threw on the 13s. Compared to the 14s, just right on foot. First thoughts, the 13, it's a little bit narrower. And then it is, I think it is more plush in the upper, so there's more cushion overall. I think it's a little bit warmer than the 14. Squish factor, the 4 does feel a little bit more supportive. The outsole pattern, the 4 is a little bit different. So they've actually gone, I think, a little bit wider in the shoe, a little bit less cushion in the upper, so it's a little bit cooler, still very comfortable, and it's very supportive. So it's like, in my opinion, this is like a true easy day shoe. I felt like the 13 had a little bit of pickup early on, and then once I kind of broke them in and got 40-ish miles on them, they felt overly squishy. Once the heat of the summer picked up, they felt squishy. So, I mean, this is a side-by-side in the winter. We'll see how they go, but let's get some running in, and then I'm gonna finish off in the Novablast 5s. But we're about 5 miles in. I wanna go at least 10, maybe up to 12, so let's do it. This shoe compresses more. It is a little narrower, so it feels a little bit more nimble. I feel like for easy runs, for me, the 14 is probably better. It's been a while since I've worn the 13s, but they do feel faster. They do have a spring, but they're compressing a lot more. And I feel like maybe the
more coverage on the outsole. So despite having a softer midsole, at least off of experience right now, despite having the softer midsole, the outsole is more coverage. So you have kind of that stabilizing rubber as far as giving it a springboard in a sense. Now, as far as pure stability though, because of the width of the 14, I feel like that is more stable overall. All right, quick mile in the 13. The 13's faster, in my opinion. It feels a little bit more nimble, but it definitely compresses a lot underfoot. So more so than the 14. When the 14 compresses, because of its width, it feels kind of like it spreads. When the 13 compresses, it just kind of squishes and it creates a little bit of instability. It's very comfortable though. And I do think at slower paces, it's not a big deal. But depending on how fast you are, I was running close to about a 9-minute mile, which is not fast, but is on the upper end of where my easy is. And it felt a little bit overly squishy, a little bit wobbly in that sense. Now I still feel like with regards to these two shoes, a little bit more wide, a little bit more breathable, or less plush of an upper, a little bit squishier, but a little bit narrower, more cushion in the upper, a little bit more nimble. So this is probably your true like easy day trainer. This one has a little bit of versatility, but is very squishy. And so if you don't like that, if it creates some instability, it kind of tires your feet out a little bit, probably not the model for you. But again, if you have slightly narrower feet in comparison to the 14, maybe a better buy. If you liked the feel of the 13, a decent amount in the feel changes, so maybe a sign to buy more of the 13 with the 14 being out and 13 being on discount. All right, just wrapped up 12 miles. I'm tired, but it's not fatigue from the workout, just fatigue from travel, I think. So let's break down really quick between the 1080 V14 and the Novablast 5. So the Novablast series is a crowd favorite when it comes to running. Oftentimes will win Daily Trainer of the Year for a lot of different media outlets, reviewers, like multi-tester review outlets, things like that. And I completely understand why. I will say that the Novablast is more of a, like, someone who is serious about training, like someone who probably takes themselves a little too seriously. That includes myself, by the way, not calling anyone out, calling out myself. Someone who takes training like a little too seriously where, you know, they feel like they train, they don't work out. Yes, I run for mental health, but I run to get better. Like I constantly am trying to get better and push my limits. The Novablast is like a daily trainer for that type of person in my mind. So let me explain why. Yes, the Novablast is a somewhat max cushion. Like you've got a good amount of cushion underfoot. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, you've got either 40 or like 40.5 in the heel. Same thing kind of in the 1080. It's kind of, what's ironic is both of these shoes have more max cushion shoes in the lineup of Asics and New Balance, but both of these could be considered pretty much max cushion, maybe just not by today's standard. But there's lots of cushion underfoot. The 1080 V14, when you run in it, it compresses down and it kind of spreads. So it creates a really stable base and it creates a very like comfortable, cushy kind of like, it doesn't make you want to go fast. There's not like a huge rebound. Doesn't mean you can't do strides. Doesn't mean you couldn't do like faster paces in the shoe because like anyone at any pace could enjoy the shoe, but it's made, in my opinion, to kind of feel easy, feel relaxed. Versus the Novablast 5, I don't think it was made to feel relaxed. I think it was made to feel a little bit quick. It's made to feel light on foot, right? And so when it comes to Novablast 5, it's a little bit narrower, but it's still an accommodating fit. Like when I say narrower in comparison to the V14, but not narrow. I think most people would consider this a slightly wider fitting daily trainer, wider fitting shoe, and I would agree with that. I think it's a little less wide than the Novablast 4. It's a little bit more breathable, and it's a little bit more breathable as well than the 1080 V14. Some people have complained about the heat of the Novablast. I completely get that. But the other thing is this FF Blast Max foam, it is bouncier. It's a little bit firmer. You're not gonna get the same compression, the same squish that you would get under the V14, despite in hand feeling very squishy. right? Sometimes when we feel something in hand, it feels different depending on how our foot actually interacts with the shoe as you compress, like how hard your stride is. I have a very heavy, very powerful stride because I wasn't a runner. I was more of an explosive, like ball sport athlete. I played basketball growing up. And so my stride is a little bit more explosive. And so for me, the foam doesn't feel firm, but it's firmer, and it bounces, it rebounds off the ground really well, and it encourages me to kind of pick up the pace. From a fit perspective though, with the Novablast 4, some people had to half size down actually because they fit very wide. I felt like these were just kind of on the edge of wide. So like I have a fairly normal sized foot in terms of width, and these had plenty of room without feeling baggy, if that makes sense. Now, somewhat newer runners who maybe don't want a super aggressive shoe for your up-tempo runs, like the Novablast 5 could be it could actually be used as a workout shoe. I think it's probably best, honestly, in that tempo and threshold range. So that's where I say this is kind of like the runner who trains. That is, the Novablast 5 is going to be kind of your ideal daily trainer versus the runner who wants to really just kind of zone out, enjoy the easy, just go on a stroll. That's kind of your V14. And for me, like if my legs are especially beat up and I just want to chill and I don't want to be tempted to speed up, V14. If I want to kind of progress my run a little bit, which I really like to do with my easy runs, Novablast 5. So that's kind of the gist of the two shoes here. That's the week. That should be 50 total miles right there, and either just around or just shy of 8 hours total on the week. I did not lift this week. That's just how the cookie crumbles with kind of being out of town for Thanksgiving, things along those lines. So it's been a very tiring week. I'm feeling better than I did before I started my run. If you've been watching the vlog, then you know I have some congestion just from travel. Just it's hard to not get sick, but I'm ready to recover hard tonight, take the day off tomorrow, and then hit the ground running next week for another week of solid training and back to kind of a regular routine for work. So there you go. Let me know in the comments if you guys have any questions, any shoe comparisons that you think that I should be doing. I'm going to be filming shoe comparisons as separate videos from full reviews going forward, just because I think there's lots to talk about with the shoes. And if you watch my vlogs, there will be little comparisons within them, like this one I did today, just as an extra treat for those who take the time to see what I'm up to on a weekly basis. Thanks, everybody.